Well, hello, friends, and welcome in from the waiting room. We are here now at our fireside chat. Thank you guys so much for being here. We're going to ask you to mute yourselves if you haven't already. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate it. All right. Well, we have a very special treat for you tonight. This is Nick Labert with Exit Strategy Realty. And we are here at my home tonight for another one of our consumer education and engagement series, but this is a special one tonight. This is one near and dear to my heart, and it's something that's going on with my family, and that's something that you're going to hear about. It's going on in a lot of our families. It's about senior living options and what's going on with the entire senior basically what's going on in America, all across America with the senior living situations. We want to engage our communities and tell you a little bit more about the options you have and that there are opportunities out there for our seniors to have a wonderful future without some of the worry and anxiety that has been going on all across America. We have options, we have some strategies, we have some definitely situations out there that we can help. So we want to give you some resources this evening. We've got a fantastic attorney guest here, as well as a senior real estate specialist designee, Edna Rutherford, who's going to be speaking to you. So without further ado, I'm actually going to turn it over to Edna, and she's going to start us off with her presentation. Edna, would you like to speak to us about the senior real estate specialist?
Well, first of all, let me allow me to do a brief introduction of myself. Um, Good evening, everyone. My name is Edna Rutherford, and I'm a real estate broker with Exit Strategy Realty. I've been licensed for over 30 years, and I've been back active for about 8 years. I hold a SRES designation, which stands for a Senior Real Estate Specialist, which means I have been specifically trained to help older adults and their families navigate the real estate market. In addition to being specifically trained, I chose to become a senior real estate specialist for several reasons. I'm a senior, and I have worked with seniors as a home care professional in senior buildings, single-family homes, and apartments. From understanding senior unique needs with later in life real estate transactions, I provide resources for aging in place, assisted living, independent living, and nursing homes. I would also like to give you a little bit of information regarding senior real estate specialists. At this time, I will go over a few things about the senior real estate designation. To successfully earn the SRES designation, a realtor must demonstrate the necessary knowledge and skills to counsel clients age 50 plus through major financial and lifestyle transitions involved in relocating, refinancing, or selling their family home.
Guys, do you want a burger? I'm making me a burger. You want one?
As an SRES professional, we receive regular updates important to the senior community and training, and is prepared to offer the options and information needed to make life-changing decisions and help seniors be as independent as possible in terms of real estate. Why work with me, a senior real estate specialist? As we mature and we require specialists to maintain our health needs to live as healthy as possible. So why not use a specialist trained in senior real estate to help you with your housing and equity needs as well. As an SRES, I strive to walk you through your living situations with a customized approach and work to fit your living needs with your overall life plans to fully enjoy your golden years. Constantly provide expertise and patience throughout the real estate transaction and understand the emotional aspects along the way. Provide an option of network of solid, reliable referrals to help you in your real estate process. Offer a variety of choices to reduce out-of-pocket expense, gain cash, or create deferred income streams to either stay independent or obtain financial assistance. As I close this out, please keep in touch. My information is on the screen. I would like to now delve into the various options of the various housing options. As a senior myself, I'm not going to go through all the major processes or let's say the textbook information, but I do want to share some of the options as it relates to how you can age in place, how you can do independent living, assisted living, and nursing homes. I'll start off with the aging in place. The aging in place basically is the ability to remain in your home as you age. Now, some of the modifications that you might need to your home would definitely be to modify them. You can include grab bars, ramps, wider doorways, bathroom renovations, and medical alert systems. One of the things about the grab bars or the ramps is mostly for wheelchair accessibility. The medical alert, I would think I'm going to share a little story with you, but with the medical alert, it's basically for couples, single individuals that have medical challenges. And what that will entail is that you press a button and hopefully you'll get the ambulance or the information or the person that you need to come and rescue you. As a senior, I have one. Like I said, it's for individuals, it's for couples, you're home alone, you're out in the street, you get sick, then you can press your button and hopefully get some help. The in-home service, they have meal deliveries, personal care aides, visiting nurses, physical therapy, and housekeeping. Now, with that, the costs vary, and it depends on the frequency of the services that you may need. And it works best for seniors with strong family support and access to reliable in-home care, which could be a professional care person. I say I did it for several years. Just talking to you a little bit off the cuff. I did it for several years. It's been a home care professional. So I'm familiar with the process of a lot of the things that they go through and why they need the care that they need. At this time, I'll skip over to independent living. The independent living is for active seniors who don't need daily help, but want a maintained free lifestyle. These communities typically offer private units, such as senior buildings and 55 plus communities, and they offer social activities. So some of the activities the services they offer is like housekeeping, meals, transportation, and fitness programs, allowing residents to enjoy freedom with the convenience of community. Costs are usually private, and Medicare and Medicaid do not cover those options. We'll move on to the assisted living. The assisted living is designed for seniors who need help with daily tasks like bathing, dressing, cooking, and managing medication. Residents live in private or shared apartments while receiving support and community-focused social atmosphere. Trained staff are on duty 24/7 to assist. Some of the housing options would be housekeeping, laundry service, and it includes a few other options that they may be interested in. This environment balances independence with care, offering a range of activities and services for those living there, often covered by Medicare, Medicaid for qualifying individuals. Last, we have the nursing homes. Nursing homes offer round-the-clock medical support for seniors with significant health conditions or disabilities. With licensed nursing professionals on staff, they deliver skilled care, rehabilitation services, physical, occupational, and speech therapy. Assist with everyday tasks such as bathing, dressing, feeding, walking. This option provides the highest level of support typically suited for long-term or complex care, often covered by Medicare, Medicaid for qualifying individuals. And with that being said, that has been one of the focal points of my communication in my series. To keep us intact with the time, I would like to now introduce to you our guest speaker, one of our guest speakers.
You know anything about me?
I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, Attorney Jacob Handelman. He is an experienced attorney specializing in estate planning and elder law. Tonight, he will be sharing valuable insight on how to prepare for the future, including wills, trusts, powers of attorney, and other important tools that help protect both seniors and their families. Please join me in welcoming Attorney Heinemann.
Hi there.
Thank you, Jacob.
I am Jacob Handelman indeed, and I am an attorney. I see some names up on the screen that I'm familiar with, so I'm saying hello to all my friends and the new people that I'm meeting as well. I'm happy to help you a little bit. In addition to my history, is that I worked at the City of Chicago's law department for 15 years. A number of those years were prosecuting drug houses and gang houses. I still also work in affordable housing, but my passion is really to help people get through difficult times. And just recently, both my parents passed away within the past couple of years. And I saw how they're planning ahead with attorneys and figuring out what it is that they think that their needs were going to be, and putting everything in order helped make my life as their agent so much more livable. So I really appreciated it when my parents did that, and I'm happy to help other parents and grandparents go through that stage as well. I'm here. I think I have about 10 minutes, a little bit or so, to talk about the basic estate planning tools, and hopefully I'll be able to leave some time open for questions towards the end. The main question we have with estate planning is how to put your things in order for when you're having trouble yourself, and to get systems in place so that you have people that can help you as you're aging and as you might need some help. You don't have to do anything necessarily. Not doing anything is a plan itself, but it's just not a comprehensive one. We could move on to the next. There we go. And so with my help or the help of another estate planning attorney, you get to make sure that it's in writing and that everyone that's important to you know what you would like to happen. Next screen. As I mentioned, You don't have to do anything. If you don't make a plan, if you don't put anything in writing, the courts will decide what it is that will happen to your assets. The courts will decide who it is that's going to take care of you if you can't identify who it is that you want to be your agent. I guess the question is, a lot of people don't like to think about their mortality, and a lot of people don't like to have someone they don't know be in control of them. You have to weigh which is more important to you. If you don't want to talk about your mortality, then there's a more likely chance that the courts are going to decide who it is that's going to be your agent, and the courts are going to decide who it is that's going to get your assets when you pass away. If you decide that you can handle talking with me or someone like me, I try to be gentle. And if you're willing to do that in advance, then you will be more in control of saying, I want my sister, I want my niece, I want my brother, whoever it is that you really trust to do this, they will be prepared to step into your shoes when you need them to. Next slide. So if you don't do anything and you pass away, that's called dying intestate. Intestate means you don't have a testament. And that is when the courts will decide, since you don't have a will, who is it that's going to be your executor? Who is it that's going to transfer your assets? And they have to get the permission of the court to do all of those things. There we go. If you don't tell in a will who it is that you want to get your assets, the general way that it's determined is called per stirpes. When I pass away, let's say I'm Amy, the first person to get anything will be your children in equal portions. So in this case, Amy had 3 children, Bridget, Charles, and David. Each of them will get 1/3 of her assets. If Bridget has passed away and she has 2 children, her 2 children will share her portion. They'll each get 1/6 of Amy's assets. Let's talk about the quick and dirty, most common planning tools. The wills we were talking about a little bit, that helps you determine where your assets want to go. But if you have $100,000 in assets or real estate, then most likely you have to go through court, and the court will decide. One way to avoid that is to put your assets into a trust. We got wills, we got trusts, we got powers of attorney. The main powers of attorney are one to deal with your own health, power of attorney for healthcare. Second common one is a power of attorney for financial matters. Those are the 2 most common types of powers of attorney. Beneficiary designations are also a way to transfer assets. If you put your assets in a bank, you can say to the bank, when I pass away, I designate my son, Joe, to get all of this account. If you do that, you don't necessarily need to have that in a will. You don't need to have that in a trust, and you don't necessarily need to go through court. Another way to make sure that assets pass efficiently is to buy something in joint tenancy. If Edna and I together buy the house in joint tenancy, when I pass away, or whoever passes away first, the other one gets the full asset without having to go through court. Okay? Business entities should have some sort of operating agreement that says what happens to that entity, what happens to that ownership when the person that owns it passes away. And life insurance also lists beneficiaries, and that's a good way to pass assets on as well. The last will and testament is something that helps to change what the state would say. In that earlier example, Amy had 3 children, and each of the 3 children got an equal share. Well, what if one of those children really needs extra assets? You can write a will, and you could say, instead of 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, I want half of it to go to this person because they have a lot of children that they're taking care of, or because they were really good to me when I was old, or for any reason you want. And if you do that, then you can change up the mixture, and per stirpes won't necessarily come into play, and you can more decide what's going to happen. Another thing about a will is if you have a young child, that's where you would mention who it is that you want to take care of your child as their guardian if you were to pass away. Am I doing this at the right speed, or am I going too fast or too slow?
You're going fine, and just remember to leave enough room for elder law.
Elder law.
Elder law.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I'll try to put some elder law into each of these things. How's that? So we're talking about a will. A will you want to set up, or any of these assets, while you still have your faculties, while you can still have a doctor write a note saying, yes, Jacob is still capable of making these decisions. He's decisional. And that is the time that you want to do it. You don't want to wait till the last minute. Anything you want to add to that, Edna?
What about some of the things that protect our seniors, us as seniors, from the various scams with being elders? It's easy for us to possibly be scammed. We get a phone call and they say, oh yeah, we can do. So what can we do to protect ourselves on that end?
So that happened to me actually with my father. He got a call. No, my mother got a call from someone saying that she was with the bank and that they needed this information from them really immediately. Otherwise, they were going to lose all of their money. And she didn't know what to do, so she gave it to my father, who was also aging, and he was on the phone with them and he was giving them access to the bank information. So how does one keep that from happening? Well, that'll bring us into the next thing. I think we're about to talk about revocable living trusts. If you don't want to give up your control of an asset, but you want someone to come in and help, you've got a younger son that's willing to help you out, that's an ideal time to draft a trust, transfer the asset, transfer the bank account from your name into the name of the trust, and say either Edna or Jacob and Edna together have to make decisions in order to give money away in large amounts, things like that. So in that particular case, because I was also a trustee of those assets, the bank was able to call me, and the bank was able to say, Jacob, your father is doing this. Is that indeed what you want to do? And that was when we caught on to something weird going on, and we were able to make it so that all of his assets didn't flitter away.
Okay. Thank you for that.
A trust has many benefits, like this one that I just mentioned. It lets you put assets into a fictitious entity so that someone else can help you control those assets and pay your bills if you don't want to be doing them all the time, or you don't understand how to get online to talk with the bank. It helps someone else do that. But you want to choose someone you trust to be a trustee. The second thing that it helps you do is it helps you avoid probate. It helps you avoid having to go to court, which a will does not do that. In this particular case, if I own a property, real estate, and I have $100,000 in assets, when I pass away, the court has to decide what to do. But if I put those assets into a trust, and I say, when I die, and this is what I want to happen to it. Right now, I want to be the beneficiary, but when I pass away, I want Nick to be the beneficiary. You don't have to go through court to make that happen. Any questions? That's a short summary. There's more you could read on the screen, but that's the most important parts. Any questions about that in regards to elder law that you'd like to ask?
Well, I say that was one of our major concerns as far as the elder law. I just want to try to alert as many seniors as I can about this type of, like say, the elder law experience, and to keep them from passing out information and you don't know who's the other end of the phone.
Right.
I get calls all the time and I say, excuse me? I say, who are you? No. I tell you what you do. You send me the information and
Right.
I'll go over it. And I hang up, or I'll say something else I'm not going to say.
Not on TV.
Not
on camera.
Not on camera.
And if you have a beneficiary that you trust that's doing your assets with you, you could call them and you could say, hey, I got this call. Can you help me evaluate whether that's real? So I really encourage trusts. It's a really good tool to use. I wasn't necessarily going to talk about this right now, but since we're concentrating on elder law, let me talk a little bit about irrevocable trusts. The first one we talked about was revocable trusts. So there's no slide for it right
Okay.
now. Revocable trusts means you can create it and you could change it in any way you want. If I'm not being nice to you, you could say, Jacob, I don't want you to be my trustee anymore. I'm going to name Nick as my co-trustee. You could put money in, you could take money out for your benefit whenever you want. An irrevocable trust is a little bit different. Irrevocable trust means that you are creating the trust, you are putting the asset into the trust, and then you would be giving someone else the ability to manage that trust for your benefit and taking away all control for yourself. Now, why would you want to take control away from yourself? There's a couple of reasons. One, if you're afraid you're going to be giving it away to the scammer that's calling on the phone, that's a really good reason. If you think you might going to need Medicaid at some point in the near future, 5 or 6 or 7 years from now, now is the time that you want to put your assets into an irrevocable trust, because your trustee can then use those assets for your benefit to supplement what you're getting from Medicaid. But you won't get Medicaid if you have more than a few $1,000s in assets. So if you have $30,000 in assets, instead of spending it down to $20,000, if you're able to put it in an irrevocable trust 5 years in advance, you can start to get your Medicaid, and your trustee can use that money in addition to supplement with extra care or extra trips or extra food or extra cleaning or extra things like that. So it's counterintuitive because people want to hold control over their assets. But if you're strong enough to give those assets to someone else to control on your behalf, then you'll be able to use them for a longer period of time and be able to get the benefit of getting some governmental programs. Question about that?
No, I would like to see if any of the audience have any questions for you on the behalf of the estate planning and or the elder law.
Sounds good. We could talk about powers of attorney and other things like that another time. If there are questions, we could jump to some questions. If you see that there's any questions in the chat, then we could do that. Or do we?
Let's see some if there's any questions about in the chat yet. Hold on one second, guys, while we do that.
I need glasses for that.
Okay, got it. No questions.
No
So far.
questions at the
Not
moment.
yet. All right.
So let's go to the next slide and let's see what we'll talk about next.
Okay.
How are we doing on time?
We're doing good.
We're doing good?
So we are at trust.
How do you, so we could talk a little bit more. Well, I mentioned this already. Is you want to pick a trustee that you trust. I did have a screen here. You could look at that a little bit about irrevocable trusts, especially helpful if you're going to need some federal assistance or some state assistance. The other thing that it could be helpful for also, now that I'm looking at my own notes, is that if you have $4 million in assets, when you a little bit more than $4 million in assets, then you're going to have to start, then your family is going to have to pay estate taxes, which could be $250,000. So if let's say you have $4.5 million and you put $1 million into an irrevocable trust, that now brings your estate down to $3.5 million, and your family won't have to pay any estate taxes.
And you can have more than one, correct? You can have one that's revocable and one that's irrevocable.
You could have one that's exactly. So you don't have to give, it's not all or nothing. You don't have to go up control over all of your assets. You can just put a portion of your assets over to the side to let someone help.
Well, my question, can you bring the assets down a little bit to less than these millions that you're talking about? What about the possibilities of lesser assets that one may have? A lot of times, some of the seniors might not have those millions.
Right.
Like
you might have $50,000 in the bank.
Let's talk about something.
So if you have $50,000 in the bank, you could create two trusts, a revocable trust that you can control yourself and an irrevocable trust that you can give to your son or daughter to manage for a while. They can invest that money for 5 years and let it grow. You could and you could decide, I'm going to keep $25,000 in the money that I'm going to be spending now, and I'm going to put $25,000 in the irrevocable one. And then this way, if you need to go on Medicaid and you still have some money in your revocable trust, okay, so you might have to spend that down a little bit, but you still have that other money that they've been investing that they'll be able to use for your benefit now or later.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
At this point in time, we want to be respectful of your time, and we do have another guest that we'd like to.
Keep going.
We do have another guest that we would like to bring to the forefront. And if you could scroll down to show Attorney Handelman's his information.
I'll give you my phone number while we're trying to find it. If I can be of help to you, my phone number is 312-967-9963, or you could reach me at jacob@handelmanlawgroup.com. If you scroll to the last
I'm
screen.
actually good with, we can introduce me last. Let's continue with your presentation, please. I'd really appreciate to hear the rest of it. So this is very fascinating to me. So let's please get back to it. Thank you. Let me get back to that. Hold on one second. While we get back to that from the beginning.
So probably what we're going to talk a little bit about now is powers of attorney. Powers of attorney for healthcare is a really good thing to set up, because what happens if you're in the hospital and you can't talk and the doctor wants to do some surgery on you, and your daughter goes in and says, yes, give her the surgery, and your son goes in and says, no, doctor, don't give him the surgery. Who's he going to listen to? Who's she going to listen to? Who's the doctor going to listen to?
Mm-hmm.
It's confusing, and you might have to go to court to figure it out. But if you do a health care power of attorney that says specifically, listen to my daughter, it's clear to the judge, not the judge, it's clear to the doctor who it is that they should be listening to, and there's no questions about that. Also, in the healthcare power of attorney, if you do it with me, we'll talk a little bit about what your fears, what your concerns, what your hopes, and what your dreams are, what types of treatment you want. And we could put that into the healthcare power of attorney so that your agent has that guidance in order to, when the time comes. It's also good to talk to them. But if you don't talk to them, at least we'll put it in the document. Okay?
Okay.
Power of attorney for financial matters is often called a durable power of attorney. Again, if something happens to you and you didn't put all of your assets into a trust, who's going to pay your mortgage? Who's going to get access to pay your gas bill? If you have a durable power of attorney, a power of attorney for financial matters, it gives your agent, it could be your daughter, could be your son, could be your cousin, could be someone at your church, access to be able to access your assets in order to use them for your benefit. Next slide. Beneficiary designations. I talked a little bit about that before. An example of that is a bank account that says, when I die, I want it to go to my cousin. Another example of that is a TODI, a transfer on death instrument. If you own property, a real estate, you can draft a or I could draft, or someone could draft a specialized document that says, I want my property to go to Matt. And as long as you follow the details and you record that before I pass away, then you wouldn't necessarily have to go through probate to make that happen. All assets are taxable. It's based upon the fair market value. Even this journal is taxable. If you just have to add up, it's worth $30.27. You have to put it on the list of everything that I own. Next slide. And why is that important? It's the gross estate of everything you're going to determine how much there is to determine whether there has to be taxes that have to be paid. Real estate and insurance and trusts, all of the assets in the trust. If you have annuities, if you own a property, if you own a business, anything, all of that whoever's in charge has to add everything up to figure out what your assets are. Next. And from that, you don't have to include assets that are owned in joint tenancy. You don't have to include assets that are in an irrevocable trust or assets that are in the hands of a qualified charity or being given to a qualified charity. Next.
You could also feel free to just touch that. Yeah.
Touch the down?
Yep.
Okay. And so right now, federally, you have to pay taxes, or estate taxes have to be paid if there's $15 million in the estate. How can you lower that number if you want? We talked about irrevocable trusts. You could also give away money or spend money before you die, and then that all comes down. In the state of Illinois, the number is 4 million. It's still a lot of money, but if you add up a number of houses, sometimes some people are right there.
Wow, that was fast.
That was fast.
We got through it, Edna. So I know Edna did want me, and sorry, I've been kind of, here's the your little Nick Liber with Exit Strategy Realtor. I think I introduced myself at the beginning, but thank you again, Edna. We did want to really quickly, though, again, I'm going to turn off our screen share. I was kind of here as your audio-visual nerd tonight, just hanging out in the corner. But I am the broker owner of Exit Strategy Realty, and I want to thank all of you tonight for being here with us. I know that Edna is going to be doing another round of this. Are you not?
Yes, I am.
Yes. So because we have a lot more to talk about with the passion we have for what's going on with our seniors. Again, my own mom and stepdad, I'm dealing with that situation and trying to get the best possible future housing situation for them, and literally walking through some of the steps that we learned about in a SRES designation, and some of you are dealing with your families, and the options and the choices that you make. So we want to continue this series that we have. So Edna, I would love for you to close it out. And again, really appreciate you being here as our attorney special guest tonight, sir.
As we're closing out, I would like to, at this time, briefly go over a few statistics that I didn't mention in the forefront of the housing options. And it has been stated that 60% of seniors own their homes. And as the population ages, many will face the need to adapt their homes and or consider moving to a more suitable living environment. Health and mobility: approximately about 60% of older adults in Illinois live with a disability, which can impact their ability to maintain a home or navigate stairs, narrow hallways, or inaccessible bathrooms. I just wanted to throw that out before I did the closing remarks. I do want to, at this time, as we bring this fireside chat to a close, I want to sincerely thank you, each and every one of you, for joining this evening. I hope you will find value in this learning more about the different housing options available for seniors and how these choices can impact your future or the future of someone you love. A special thanks goes out to our special guest speaker, Attorney Jacob Handelman, for his expert insight on estate planning and elder law, and Nick Liebert, founder and coach of Exit Strategy Realty, for sharing his personal testimony and experience. As a preview of our final session, we'll focus on downsizing, decluttering, a virtual walkthrough of a multi-generational property, and financing. Now, with the multi-generation property, it usually can hold or house at least 3 families. And you can have your caretaker, you can have your children, your adult children and their families. We'll talk about that at a later date. But I just want to share that, throw that out at you, to you, for you, and to let you know that there is a final series, and it will be in your inbox soon. If you'd like to learn more or have any questions or want to discuss your own housing journeys, please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly. I'm here as a resource and an advocate for you. Thank you again, and I look forward to seeing you at our next Fireside Chat. Have a good evening.
Thank you guys very much. On behalf of Exit Strategy Realty, have a great night.